How hard should you actually train to build muscle? Should you go all out every set until you're shaking and screaming? Or is that just ego lifting dressed up as effort? Let's break it down. Today we're diving into training to failure, rep speed, and how science meets real-world lifting to help you maximize hypertrophy without burning out. First, let's define what failure really means in the gym. There's absolute failure, where you physically cannot lift the weight anymore, even with poor form. Then there's technical failure, when you can't complete another rep with proper form. Most lifters land somewhere in between. A little form breakdown might be okay if it means pushing the muscle to its real limit. So how do you know if you're close to failure without guessing? One answer: rep speed. As you fatigue, your rep speed naturally slows down. In fact, studies show up to an 80% decrease in speed on the last few reps of a true failure set. If your reps still look fast and controlled, you're not at failure. Simple as that. Now, let's get into what the research says about training to failure. Yes, it has its place. Training to failure can be great when you're short on time, and it does recruit more motor units when done correctly, but there are serious downsides. It increases fatigue, slows recovery, and makes it harder to maintain high training volume throughout the week. And volume matters a lot. A meta-analysis by Krieger found that doing 10 or more sets per muscle group per week led to significantly more muscle growth than doing fewer than 10, even if those fewer sets were taken to failure. So more volume equals more gains, and failure isn't the only way to get there. This is where RPE, rating of perceived exertion, and RIR, reps in reserve, come in. RPE is a scale from 1 to 10 that rates how hard a set feels. RIR measures how many more reps you could do before failure. RPE 10 means 0 RIR, you hit failure. RPE 9 means you had 1 rep left. RPE 8 means you had 2 reps left, and so on. For hypertrophy, most experts agree that you should train in the RIR 0 to 4 range. That means you don't need to push every set to the absolute limit. In fact, stopping 1 or 2 reps short of failure is often the best move for consistent progress and manageable recovery. Now let's apply this to real lifters. Jeff Nippard once posted a set he thought was hard, but rep speed stayed fast, probably RPE 6 or 7, meaning he undershot. Chris Bumstead hit a true RPE 10, with his last rep taking over 3 seconds. John Meadows showed a controlled grind at RPE 9. He had 1 left in the tank. Greene worked in the RPE 7-8 zone, still effective for growth. On the flip side, Ronnie Coleman's pull-down set looked like a warm-up, RPE 5 or lower. Then you've got Alberto Nunez, who pushed a technically perfect high-effort set with a final rep speed over 4 seconds. And Greg Doucette, he'll push sets to the brink, but he admits the injury risk is high and recommends saving true failure for machine or isolation work. So here's the takeaway: you don't always need to go to failure. In fact, you probably shouldn't, especially on compounds. Use rep speed as a cue, but don't rely on it alone. The best approach is to know when to push and when to pull back. And what about Jay's set? Rep speed didn't slow down dramatically, but his form was tight, cadence was steady, and the mind-muscle connection was clearly there. It wasn't a textbook failure set, but it absolutely stimulated growth. Train hard, train smart, grow on.